We got an exciting show for everyone today. A lot of news happening over the past week.
Yeah, a lot of current news for you guys here today. I know sometimes we get old news, but this stuff is
happens
happened this morning.
And this morning and
my mic keeps falling, so I have to sit really low.
Oh, how it feels to be taller than Kevin.
I know, like I'm hunched over right now. I can barely even hear myself. This is like last week. We struggle.
We are not getting the hang of this.
To put it simply, yeah, we are not getting the hang of this. But we're grateful for the opportunity to learn.
Even if we don't take advantage of it.
Yeah, we're thankful for all our listeners. We're thankful for you guys. We want you to contribute to our show. Talk to us on Facebook. Find us at Here's the Thing.
As Kevin has mentioned before, I'm usually playing on my phone during little announcements, and so I can communicate to you through, and I can also bring it up in discussion for our show today.
Yeah,
we want to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, so if you have differing opinions or you agree with us or anything, you want us to talk about something, there's breaking news that happens while we're on air.
And if you have a differing opinion against mine, you're wrong. Just saying.
Then I must be wrong all the time.
Yeah, you are.
I rarely agree with you. Let's jump right into it, man. I don't know if you knew this, Jacob. We're in St. Louis, kind of.
It's not like I've grown up around here.
No, you did.
Anything.
You did.
I was being facetious, Kevin.
Oh. Okay. The Rams. That is just a hot mess over there at the Edwards-Jones Dome. They're not good. They're not a good football team. What's the problem?
That is you.
They're not a good football team.
You got to go straight to not being a good football team.
They're not.
They are. They're the Rams.
Okay. And I know their team name, Jacob.
So, I've been a Rams fan for most of my life, and you get used to it. At one point, it was. Usually after the first game of the season, we're already looking towards the NFL draft and who we're going to pick. This year, it took a little longer to look for that, but by week 9 and 10, we're like, okay, who do we need in the NFL draft? But it's just inconsistencies, man. The idea that you can play Pittsburgh or you can go to Green Bay and you can hang with them. But then
they beat Seattle.
They beat Arizona in Arizona. And then the Chicago Bears come in with one of the worst defenses in the league. And after your first drive, where you score a touchdown, you score 6 points the rest of the game. The Rams under Jeff Fisher seem to be playing down to their opponents every week. And that is no one's fault than the coaches. It is the coach's fault for not having that defense didn't even look like they showed up. It was a bunch of people they picked up off the street and threw the same jerseys on.
They were all just matching out there. They didn't even know the plays.
No, you guard him and you go get the quarterback. That's basically what it was. And then they obviously couldn't tackle. It's like the worst tackling I've seen all year. And this is a team that prides itself on its defense. If your defense isn't going to show up, you're going to lose because your offense isn't doing anything. You can't give the ball to Todd Gurley every play and hope he goes to score an 80-yard touchdown.
And they did lose to the Bears, 37-13.
That was a complete blowout.
37-13, and they lost in all aspects of the game. They were just not good.
It's sad to say that you cannot take out a lot of good players or good parts from that game. You had Johnny Hecker, who special teams, he did his job, but he was really the
except
only
for that
one.
Fake punt attempt.
Well, you can't expect a fake punt to work every single time.
Yeah.
The only other player that you can say was good that day was Aaron Donald. 7 tackles, 2 sacks, another one for a tackle for loss. And he showed up. The rest of the defense, no. The whole offense, no.
And so Jeff Fisher's reaction to this, he is benching Nick Foles. I was looking at your Twitter, Jacob. I was going back in the archives of your Twitter.
Oh, great.
And I found a tweet that you tweeted out. I don't know when it was, but you said something like, make Hecker the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And they go with Case Keenum instead, which To be honest, I don't think he's much better than the punter.
Well, here's the thing. Well, I tweeted that
Here's
because
the thing.
that was the game where Johnny Hecker completed a fourth down fake, and it's like Nick Foles isn't doing hot that game, so obviously there should be a change. But see, you're not a big fan of Case Keenum. The difference is, I watched Case Keenum play in college.
That's the thing.
For Houston, and that dude was throwing 5,000 yards this season. But that's also the offense he played.
He hasn't done that in the NFL. He was in Houston,
in Houston,
St. Louis before.
Okay. He was okay in Houston.
I don't think he's put up numbers
to
warrant a starting quarterback
He would
position.
be an 8-8 guy his entire career if he was starting quarterback on a team like the Houston Texans defense a few years ago, or the Rams defense now. He'd probably be an 8-8 guy. And really, this, I think, has there's multiple reasons for this change. One, Nick Foles has been terrible. Here's a statistic for you. And this goes back to this being on the general manager and the head coach. Your excuse to the last 2 years is that you haven't been successful because you've been playing with backup quarterbacks because Sam Bradford gets hurt. Well, the passer rating of Austin Davis and Sean Hill combined average was 85. Nick Foles this year, your guy
that you
traded for, has a passer rating of 79.6. It is worse than your two backup quarterbacks that you played the last 2 years. You have no excuses that this guy is not being successful.
But you put in Keenum, whose numbers are very similar to Nick Foles. We look at Nick Foles for this season. What have they played? 9 games. Foles has thrown 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, has 5 fumbles. His rating is 75.9. Look at Case Keenum's number from 2013 when he played 8 games, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 6 fumbles, rating of 78.2. So the numbers are very similar. I don't think Keenum is going to be any answer.
And this is what I'm thinking the decision is based off of. The team needs a spark. And maybe Case Keenum's personality is going to put a spark under this team. But here's another thing. You also traded for Nick Foles, and you gave him a contract that goes into next year. He's your guy, and you got to save him. Jamon Brown, your starting left or right guard, depending on how the offensive line lines up that day. He is on injured reserve. He got injured for the season. Darrell Williams, he got injured for the season. You're playing with an offensive line with a bunch of nobodies. You got Greg Robinson, the number 2 overall pick, who is statistically, based on offensive lineman numbers, the worst offensive lineman in the NFL right now. He leads the league in holding penalties.
Wow.
And he came from Auburn's offense, which didn't pass at all. They just ran the ball the entire time. And the thing is, he's still learning. Orlando Pace, who I think is one of the 3 best offensive tackles in NFL history, if not the best, it took him a few years to get used to playing in the NFL. And that's who he's been compared to, is Orlando Pace. I can see it, but he needs to progress faster. You cannot have 8 holding penalties this far. He's killing drives himself. So that's your left tackle. Rookie Andrew Donnell or Garrett Reynolds is going to be your left guard. Tim Barnes, who should be a third-string center, honestly. The only reason he's playing is because we have no one else. Your right guard is Andrew Wishman. You drafted him in like the 5th round this year, who hasn't got any playing time. And your right tackle is Rob Havenstein, who has been your best offensive lineman, but he's injured. You don't even know if he's going to play. So Case Keenum is basically going to be the dummy, the punching bag for the defense in this game, because the Ravens are going to punish him, and it's not going to be pretty for him. It may be an opportunity for him, but I think they may be saving their quarterback for this next game.
Yeah, if we look at the Rams' schedule coming up, like you said, the Ravens, then they have the Bengals and the Cardinals. I don't know if they can win either of those games.
If the Rams want to make it to the playoffs, they have to go, how many games? 7-1 or 6-1 these next 7 games.
And that's not going to happen.
Well, if you're going up against Seattle in Seattle and you're going up against Cincinnati, who they finally lost, so they are human.
Only scored 6 points on Monday Night Football. But, I mean, we look at the the NFC standings. Panthers are going to win their division. And then wild card, Falcons are 6-3.
But they're not a good 6-3.
Packers are 6-3.
They'll make the one wild card.
And Vikings are 7-2. So the right now the wild card spots are between those three teams: Falcons, Vikings, Packers. One of the Vikings, Packers are going to win the division. So really, Packers and Falcons right now.
And I honestly believe the Falcons are going to come back, and you have like a 5-way tie for third place in the wild card race.
The Rams are only 2 games out of the second wild card spot, but they've lost 2 games in a row. And Case Keenum, as good as he was in college, he's not the answer to put your team into the playoffs.
And I don't think he has enough weapons. Yeah, you have Wes Welker, and yeah, you have Tavon Austin, but you don't have that one reliable receiver like you had in Houston when Andre Johnson was younger, and DeAndre Hopkins as a rookie. He had weapons all around him. It's not the same thing up here in St. Louis. But if you're basing this schedule on how the defense is going to play, if they showed up, you'd say they have a chance to win all those games. But then you go back and you have to look, oh, wait, they have to play offense too? Oh, that takes them out of every game.
Anyway, a quick PSA. Each year, more deaths occur due to flooding than from any other thunderstorm-related hazard. The number one cause of flood-related drownings is when a vehicle is driven into hazardous floodwater. People underestimate the force and power of water. Many of the deaths occur in automobiles as they are swept downstream. Of these drownings, many are preventable, but too many people continue to drive around the barriers that warn you when the road is flooded. A mere 6 inches of fast-moving floodwater can knock over an adult. It takes just 12 inches of rushing water to carry away a small car, while 2 feet of rushing water can carry away most vehicles. It is never safe to drive or walk into floodwaters. Turn around, don't drown. This has been a public service announcement from the National Weather Service and the Galaxy Radio. I thought that was fitting since it didn't stop raining for like 48 straight hours.
Yeah, it is. And I hate driving in the rain. It's like
I don't have good windshield wipers, so I can't see if it's raining.
You bought that new car and you can't put the $12 windshield wipers on it?
No, my front left blinker doesn't work either.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'll probably get a ticket. Do you think Jeff Fisher should get a pink slip and get fired?
Okay, and I didn't want to give myself the reputation of the guy that was like, oh, he just wants everyone fired, because I said the same thing about Mike Matheny. I think Mike Matheny should be fired. If Mike Matheny doesn't have success this next season, I think he should be fired no matter what. But Jeff Fisher came into one of the worst situations the NFL has ever seen. I think it was like 40-something players on the roster that he got when he first came here don't even play in the NFL anymore. And so he has changed his roster. And usually you give a coach like 2 or 3 years to do that overhaul. And then you start seeing success because he has his own players. Well, you're not seeing that success. You have your own quarterback. You've had multiple drafts with multiple first-round picks. You've had your free agencies. You have your team. And yet you're still not having success. Your team is not showing up on Sunday every other week. You're playing down. You're losing games you should be winning. And this is coming from a guy who supported Steve Spagnuolo, who might be one of the worst coaches in St. Louis Rams history. I didn't think they should have fired him. I wanted to see more of him. And I'm saying that you need a new voice. You want to make it to the playoffs, and Jeff Fisher is not bringing your team there because he cannot get his players ready on Sunday half the time.
Jeff Fisher hasn't been above 500 as a coach since 2008.
Was that the season they won 13 games? Or?
Yeah, they went 13-3 that year.
Yeah, they started 13-0.
Oh. Well, that's a bad ending then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was with Kerry Collins as his quarterback. He went off between Kerry Collins and Vince Young. That ain't any better than the quarterbacks you have here. And he had Chris Johnson, okay, when he was rushing for 2,000 yards. But you have Todd Gurley now. There's no reason you shouldn't be successful because your defense is arguably better than that defense.
Here's something pretty cool. ProFootballReference.com, they list every single time he's challenged to play. For 2015, he's challenged 3 times. He's gotten 2 right.
Well, if you're only See, I don't.
In his career, 75 challenges, only 28 times he's had it overturned.
That's what's different about today's NFL, though, is that all turnovers are reviewed, all scoring plays are reviewed, so you don't have to throw the challenge flag as much.
That's true.
But then it seems like when the Rams want to turn the ball over, it's blatantly obvious. I mean, you want to get Trey Mason touches, but the first carry he gets against Chicago, he fumbles on your own 20-yard line. You can't have that.
I saw that play.
That's why Isaiah Pete isn't here anymore.
We got to hold on to that football.
Maybe we should just take it after the Patriots and deflate the footballs and
cheat
and then not fumble. If you look at the Patriots numbers, they don't fumble like at all.
And they have a different running back every week.
Yeah, Jonas Gray is rushing for 100 yards.
Deion Lewis, who hadn't been in the NFL for like 3 years, he's injured now, but he was
good in Pittsburgh. I like Deion Lewis.
Let's move to college football. We are in the state of Missouri. Gary Pinkel, the head coach for the Missouri Tigers, announced that at the end of the season he will be retiring. Said he was diagnosed with lymphoma back in May, and so he's going to be stepping away at the end of the season. The Missouri was patient with him because he's been at Missouri for about 15 years. They were bad there for a while. And that's the key, being patient, and he built a program that competed in the SEC.
The 30 years before Pinkel got there, Mizzou was a joke of a program, and I'm not afraid to say that because it was. And they didn't even know what going to a bowl game was practically. But the first year Gary Pinkel came in, he took him to the Independence Bowl, which isn't much. But you had a successful season to go to a bowl game. And that was back when there weren't as many bowl games, so you obviously have a good season. And this was I read this statistic, and this one blew me away. So in the 30 years before Gary Pinkel, the team ended in the top 25 5 times. The last 8 years under Pinkel, they've been in the top 25 5 times.
It's true. I'm looking at the internet right now.
You have changed this program from being a destination for coaches that end their careers here because they can't find anywhere else to go to where coaches that are just starting are going to come here to a major program. And the expectations of wanting to be like an Alabama or an LSU to go for a national championship every year in the SEC isn't realistic because you don't have the history here at Mizzou and you don't have the recruiting grounds. I mean, you are in the SEC, but you're still in Missouri. Like, the University of Florida is in Florida, one of the highest recruiting beds in the country. And Gary Pinkel, he worked down there a little bit, but you're not going to get them kids that want to stay close to home up in Missouri. But if you think about it, Gary Pinkel changed recruiting because he brought the idea of keeping in-house players in-house, the good ones. You have like Jeremy Maclin or Dorial Green Beckham or most recently Terry Beckner Jr. These are all 5-star recruits that could have went anywhere, but he kept them in state. And that's what's important about recruiting. You keep the in-state guys. And then he moved down to Texas, and he started taking players away from those major schools in Texas, like Chase Daniels, one of the best quarterbacks in the history of Mizzou. And if you want to think about it another way how he changed recruiting, he changed the rules of it. The NCAA says you can no longer fly your helicopter and land it on the high school's football field because he did that at my high school. You can't do that anymore. He changed recruiting that way. And he changed Mizzou's program to where they're sending people to the NFL. Alden Smith, first-round draft pick.
Suspended for an entire year.
Point being, first-round draft pick. Ziggy Hood, first-round draft pick. William Moore, Pro Bowler. You have people getting to the NFL now. And now you are a team that expects to get to a bowl game every year. You are a team that can compete for the SEC championship. And 2 of the last 5 years, excuse me, Mizzou has competed for a national championship. They have been 1 win away from going to a national championship. Obviously, that's a mark on his resume that he never won a conference championship. He never won a national championship. But what he did at Mizzou change the landscape of college football. And maybe this year was a good time for him to leave because they're having a less than stellar year. But
5-5 right now. Probably will still make a bowl game.
Well, they have to win one game, and the 2 games left are Tennessee and Arkansas, and those are pretty tough games.
I think they'll get one.
But the thing is that I don't even know where I was going with this.
Just hard to speak of how well he's done at Missouri. He's just been a great coach. I think an underlooked coach because he's not at a major program, but just a fantastic coach when he was at Toledo and then to Missouri the past 15 years.
I remember when the Ohio State job opened up. Everyone linked Pinkel to Ohio State. But then once they heard Urban Meyer took the Ohio State job, it was like, oh, weight lifted off our chest. But I think, going back to what I was saying, because I finally remembered, this is probably the right time because you have a lot of coaching candidates that would love to come to Mizzou. You have the Houston coach.
Tom Herman, used to be the Iowa State offense coordinator.
Who was connected to the athletic director here at Mizzou. You have Memphis's head coach.
Jason Fuente.
Thank you. So you got 2 hot names.
Western Michigan coach, P.J. Fleck. He's been mentioned for the job. I think, they're going to get an up-and-coming coach, a young coach. And they're not going to get an established coach.
I think he will excel, too, especially the Houston coach, because he has a top 5 high school prospect in the country coming to Houston to play for him. Edward Oliver, I believe his name is, defensive tackle. And that's going to Houston. That's not a major program. That's not a major conference. Think what he can do in Texas, because he obviously has recruiting ability in Texas, with a Mizzou team that plays in the SEC, that he can say, look at us, we can get you to the NFL because we play NFL talent. That could change this program. Now, that's if he wants to come here. There's a lot of job offers at major programs.
USC's job opening.
USC's.
Miami's
be a hotbed for coaching, even though Ed Reed. I like the thought of Ed Reed going to the U.
That'd be interesting. We'd like to encourage our listeners. Tell us on Facebook, who do you think Missouri should go to hire? Plenty of options. Who do you think they should go to? I mean, he's retiring at the end of the season, so those discussions probably won't happen for a while, but it's fun to speculate. And we'd also like to encourage you guys to check out the newest issue of the Webster Journal. Came out this morning, and so it'll probably be around campus later today. You can also, if you don't go to Webster and you're listening to us, thank you, but you can go to websterjournal.com, read the stories there, and so we encourage you guys to check out the news from the Webster Journal. Let's talk about the college football playoff rankings. Comes out every Tuesday. I don't know why I just said it like that. Tuesday.
Well, I thought it was kind of... They usually have a show for it. But since college basketball was going on, they had it courtside between the Kentucky game and the Kansas game.
So the top 4 remains the same. Clemson, number 1. Alabama, number 2. Ohio State, number 3. And Notre Dame 4. And then the 2 teams, really 3 teams trying to push their way in. Iowa at 5. Okie State at 6. 7 is Oklahoma. 8 is Florida. So really 8 teams trying to make their way in at this point. I do have a problem with Ohio State still in the top 4.
You do?
Here we go. I'm going to read all of Ohio State's top 25 wins. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
I read them all. They have none. I think, man, we talked about it last year. People talked about it last year, the Big 12 being disrespected. Oklahoma State has to be in the top 4.
Here's the thing.
They
Kevin.
play tough teams. Ohio State doesn't.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Big 10 teams, don't worry about them. One's going to get in as long as Iowa and Ohio State went out. Actually, it doesn't matter. I know Big 10 team will be there because most likely Iowa's going to make it to the conference championship, and Michigan State or Ohio State are going to make it to the conference championship. Whoever wins there is going to be in. So Big 10 team, you're covered. The only thing that you have to question is that number 4 spot. Is that going to be Notre Dame or is that going to be Big 12 team, which is Oklahoma or Oklahoma State? Now you could say, well, Oklahoma just beat Baylor. Yeah, they beat Baylor with a backup quarterback. Well, Oklahoma's going to beat TCU. Yeah, probably with another backup quarterback. So Oklahoma State, undefeated. If they go undefeated the rest of the year, yes, I believe they will make it over Notre Dame because Notre Dame will be playing a Stanford team that has 2 losses at the end of the year. Now, a week ago, before they lost to Oregon, if you said Notre Dame's going to play Stanford at the end of the year with 1 loss, then there's more question. And you're wondering if Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, does that 1 loss to the number 1 team in the country by 2 points matter at all? And, I feel like ratings, viewers play a part in this? I would hope not. But everyone knows more people are interested in watching Notre Dame than Oklahoma State. They bring the viewers. They are probably the most popular team in college football, Notre Dame.
Yeah, but if it's based on viewers, that's stupid. But you're talking about how if Oklahoma State goes 12-0, they would have had to beat Oklahoma, TCU, and Baylor. I don't care who the quarterback is. Those are 3 really good football teams.
The Baylor team is going to be without their starting quarterback
all
year.
Yeah, but they won with their backup.
True, but they played Kansas State when they won.
Yeah, but
here's the thing. TCU will have their starting quarterback back. That'll mean something. They'll be like, oh, Trevon Boykin, a Heisman candidate, is back, and we still beat him. And Oklahoma, who put it to all these teams, and we beat them. They don't have an injured quarterback. They're a good team. Now, let's say Oklahoma goes undefeated the rest of the way, and it's down to Notre Dame and Oklahoma. 1 loss to Oklahoma. Texas. Notre Dame blew Texas out of the water.
Last year, Ohio State lost to Virginia Tech. You can have 1 bad game. Oklahoma still deserves a chance to be in. There's got to be a Big 12 team in the college football playoff.
Over a 1-loss Notre Dame team?
Yes.
You really think that?
Yeah.
And, I agree with that.
I don't think it'll happen, but if Oklahoma State team is 12-0, how do you say they're not one of the 4 best teams in the country?
I feel like the undefeated teams will make it. The only 1-loss team that should be in it is Alabama because they are probably the best team in the country right now, the way they're playing. And they said it earlier. They were like, yeah, we discussed if Alabama or Clemson should be number 1. So even the committee is thinking Alabama's probably the best team in the country, even though they have 1 loss.
I think one way the committee is diminishing the Big 12. TCU ranked 18th in the college football playoff rankings. In all the other rankings, they're at the lowest 11. And so they're saying if Oklahoma State goes undefeated and they're like, oh, we beat TCU, they'll be like, oh, they're not even ranked. Who cares?
And
so they're diminishing the Big 12 by ranking TCU and Baylor so low.
I think the low rankings were in part of scheduling makeup while they backloaded the schedules. Now is when the Big 12 teams are getting into those major games where they'll boost them in the standings. Earlier they were playing joke teams and they just threw for 500 yards and scored 70 points a game. Now it's starting to get competitive where they're still scoring 70 points a game, but both teams are scoring 70 points a game. And so I think these next few weeks will matter to how, and anything can happen. Us saying there's a controversy is premature. It's not needed because any week, any of those top 4 teams can lose. And that would probably take them out of the running unless you're Clemson. But then you have the dark horses, maybe like a North Carolina with 1 loss, who, if they go undefeated the rest of the way, they have to play Clemson in the ACC championship. What if they go undefeated? What if they beat Clemson? Will 1-loss North Carolina team make it into the national championship tournament? Questions, man.
It's an exciting time that there's 4 teams that make it instead of 2.
Yeah. And this is probably going to push the question, should there be 4 or should there be 8?
I think there should be 6.
And then the top 2 teams get a bye?
Yeah, I think the drop-off between 6 and 7 is kind of this year not as big, but
who's 7?
Oklahoma is 7, Florida is 8.
Those are still two good teams.
Yeah, but I think 6 is a more accurate representation. Obviously, no matter how many you do, there's always going to be people that are snubbed. You look at the NCAA basketball tournament, 68 teams make it, and number 69 and 70 are always mad. I mean, there's always going to be snubs, but I think 6 is a good number. You know what else is good? A show on this station called The Local Project. It is Wednesdays from 5:30 to 6:30, and they play music from local artists here in St. Louis. So you check out that show, 5:30 to 6:30 on Wednesdays. Today is Wednesday, so that's today. You can listen to them. If they have a show, I don't know. How you can listen to them? You can listen to them on your smartphone, on your computer at thegalaxyradio.com. I hope you already knew that because you're listening. Or you can download the TuneIn mobile app. You just download that app and search for the Galaxy Radio. You can find us so you can listen with an app. Apps are good.
I'm going to hate to admit this, but I've had my headphones unplugged this entire time. And when I plugged it in, it just like blew my eardrum out.
Oh. I can barely hear. So maybe mine aren't plugged in either. How are you hearing me? Just like
I kept it off my other ear. So we're
oh my gosh,
freestyling the entire time.
Oh my gosh, we are not good at this. Let's move to the best sport.
Baseball.
The NBA. The NBA is not a sport, Kevin. Basketball, man. We had the first coach of the season was fired, and a bit of a surprise who it was. The Houston Rockets this morning fired their head coach, Kevin McHale, after a 4-7 start. They were the first team in NBA history to start 0-3 with 3 20-point losses. Replacing him will be interim head coach J.B. Bickerstaff. Love that last name, Bickerstaff. J.B. Bickerstaff. What's up with the Rockets, man? They're 4-7. They had such a talented roster. People thought they'd be competing for the number 1, number 2 seed in the West.
One word. Defense.
Absolutely.
And that is one thing.
Well, I think it's defense, but I think the word that encapsulate the word that sums up that is effort. Their guys don't show effort.
They show effort on offense.
Yeah.
Not on defense. And that has been the issue that I have with James Harden, which is why I don't think he is a MVP. He's an MVP caliber player, but I don't think he should win the MVP because he doesn't play defense at all.
He did last year.
Olay defense.
He did last year, and I think he just got tired of it this year, and that's why, like, he sets the tone. And if he's not competing, working hard, then why should players that make a lot less money play hard, you know?
Well,
it starts from the top.
Dwight Howard's calling card when he came in, Defensive Player of the Year. Where's that at?
Well, it's hard to say, here, Dwight, you have to stop everyone because they're just going to drive right by our guards. The reason he's good at defense is because he can step over, help defense, and that kind of stuff. He's good at a post defense, but when he's having guys running downhill at him for 48 minutes or however long he's in the game, he can't do that for 48 minutes. Try stopping guards, attacking him the whole game.
And would you consider Ty Lawson a relatively good defender?
He can. No, not really. He can get steals, but
I think Houston got soft when they traded away Omer Ashik.
Yeah, they just didn't work with Dwight Howard. The Rockets have lost 4 games in a row now, and to bad teams. They lost to the Nets, the Nuggets, the Mavericks are okay, and the Celtics.
Hey, don't diss my Celtics. They're 6-4.
Are they?
Yeah,
they're not. They're not a good team.
6-4, 6-5.
They're not a good team.
Marcus Smart taking it to Russell Westbrook.
They're 6-4. Yeah.
Playoff team.
Yeah.
Helps that they're in the East though. And the problem I have with the Celtics, who's their go-to guy? I mean, you got Isaiah Thomas off the bench.
Yeah.
That's about it. Marcus Smart ain't going to score you 24 points a game.
Yeah.
But going back to Houston, you wouldn't think you'd have such a bad defense with Kevin McHale as your coach.
They just don't compete for him. You know, they don't try hard, and like that's an issue.
Thank you, Kevin, for your
like,
tremendous insight.
No. If you don't, like, he can be the smartest coach in the world, and I think he's a great coach. I mean, he was a Coach of the Year candidate last year. If you don't, like, they competed for him last year, so they're done listening to him. Like you said earlier with the Rams, you need a new voice. And so I think that's the issue. It's not that he's a bad coach. He'll find another job. The issue is they don't listen to him anymore, really. And so you got to go in a different direction.
And who do you think that other direction will be?
Well, I think they'll go with J.B. Bickerstaff the rest of the year. But then after that, there's been names tossed out. Mark Jackson.
The old Golden State
Golden State coach. Jeff Van Gundy, the old Rockets coach.
Jeff, okay, I get a mix-up. Jeff is the one that announces.
Yes.
Right? I love that guy.
And Stan is the one in Detroit right now. Yeah, Jeff Van Gundy, former Knicks coach, former Rockets coach. He's a candidate. And then Tom Thibodeau. They're going to talk about that.
Talk about getting defense. That'd be your guy.
Yeah. So those are some names that have been tossed out there. But I don't know. The West is good. But as we look at the standings right now, it hasn't been as good as we thought it would be.
I know the Spurs have been a little underwhelming this year, and
they're 8-2.
I mean, you don't hear.
Yeah, you don't because of the Warriors.
Yeah,
but I mean, if we look at the standings right now, the Rockets, they're 3 games out of third place with 71 games to go. So it's not like they're completely out of it. Right now, there have been some surprise teams up there. The Suns at 6-4, Nuggets at 6-5.
Emmanuel Mudiay has been playing out of his shoes, really.
He's been good. Yeah.
Definite Rookie of the Year candidate.
Yes. Him, Karl Anthony Towns, Kristaps Porzingis.
See, I think half of that is just because he plays for a New York team. And
he's putting up numbers, man.
So did Jeremy Lin, and now look at him. But everyone thought Jeremy Lin was the greatest thing since sliced bread when he first came out in New York.
Well, yeah, with Jeremy Lin, it was the system. Mike D'Antoni's system always works good for point guards. But Jeremy Lin's not a bad basketball player.
He's not a bad basketball player, but if you listen to just the New York media, you'd think it was the next Magic Johnson coming in.
I mean, Jeremy Lin's averaging 12 points a game on this season.
Is that Magic Johnson numbers?
No, New York media really blows things out of proportion.
Would you rather have Carmelo Anthony or Jeremy Lin?
Stop.
No, to answer the question.
Yeah, I'd rather have Carmelo Anthony.
Well, New York media brought up the question, would you rather have Jeremy Lin or Carmelo Anthony? And half of them said Jeremy Lin.
Kristaps Porzingis is averaging 13 points and 9 rebounds. Like, he's
good.
Putting up numbers.
He's doing good. But they make it sound like he's LeBron James.
They're comparing him to Dirk. I mean, Porzingis 13 points, 9 rebounds.
Those are great rookie numbers,
yeah,
especially for someone who is not even close to scratching the surface of how good he can be.
Yeah, definitely. He's someone that is a candidate. We got kind of off track. But, I mean, it's good talk. So, yeah, the Rockets are looking for a coach. So, I mean, you can...
And you mentioned how he was a candidate for Coach of the Year.
Last year, yeah.
And I, myself, don't even care about Coach of the Year in NBA for the very reason that Eric Spoelstra was a candidate. I don't know. Did he win it?
No,
he didn't. But he was a candidate, and he finished top 3 multiple times. Well, of course you're going to be a Coach of the Year candidate because you've got LeBron James on your team.
Well, I mean, it's hard to... You got to manage egos and that kind of stuff. But
LeBron made half the calls. Now, I like how he's having a little bit of success now without him.
He's a good coach.
Yeah, and that kind of silenced some of the doubters saying, oh, it's because he's got LeBron and all three of them put together. And, well, he's showing he can do a little more.
We want to invite you guys to check out What a Theatrical Musical Director Does. Michael Horsley, the musical director of the Muni, will give a presentation in Thompson Music Recital Hall from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. on November 20th. Michael will speak directly about all the many things a music director does in the areas of leading, teaching, coaching, planning, arranging, programming, working with the technical and artistic staff, and so forth in the realm of musical theater. This event brought to you by Webster's Galaxy Radio. That was a lot of ings. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was like 7 straight words that ended it in ing. Leading, teaching, coaching, planning, arranging, programming, working.
Do you know what those are?
What are they? They're not piled on modifiers.
Gerunds.
Gerunds?
Yes.
Wow, look at you.
English lesson for the day coming from a sports show.
Look at you. They're gerunds.
How do we get to talk about gerunds? Like,
how did we? You're the one that brought it up. Not me.
You're the one mentioning ing words. Let's count them up in the middle of the show.
It was a lot of them.
Do you think the listeners care?
Yes.
Okay.
They were probably thinking the same thing. Man, that was a lot of.
Well, they were probably doing the same thing I did and not listen and just wait till you stop talking.
Thank you. I appreciate that comment. So do you want me to talk about something else, or are people just not going to listen?
How about them Kevin threes?
No, we're going to talk about
sound effects.
We're going to talk about Mario Chalmers.
No. That was horrible transitioning.
We're going to talk about Mario Chalmers. The Grizzlies traded for Chalmers a couple weeks ago. I was like, was it last week or maybe a couple weeks ago? I was like, it's a trade.
It was last week.
Last week, I was like, it's a trade. Nothing big, nothing significant. I'm going to be wrong here.
I'm going to bite my tongue.
This is something big. This is something significant. Grizzlies, in the games Mario Chalmers have played, they're 3-0. Coming to the Grizzlies, he was averaging 5 points a game. In the 3 games he's played with the Grizzlies, he's upped his season average to 11 points a game.
Wow.
He's averaging 18 points a game for the Grizzlies.
With a win over Oklahoma City, too.
Yeah, they're 3-0 in the games he's played, and they're 6-6 now, and it looks like they're back on track.
The fire sale has been averted. Now they're playoff contenders again. Now, what do you think bringing him in has really helped with? Was it the defense, the 3-point defense? Was it the offense and actually being able to make a 3-pointer?
Yeah. With the Grizzlies, he's shooting 54% from 3. Coming in on the season, when he came to the Grizzlies, he had made 1 all year. And so far with the Grizzlies, he's made 7. And he gives them a spark offensively that doesn't hurt them defensively. Like Beno Udrih was the backup point guard, great mid-range shooter. The problem is he couldn't play with Mike Conley at the same time, and he was a liability defensively. Chalmers comes in, he can play off the ball, because in Miami, that's all he did with LeBron. Mm-hmm. LeBron was the point guard, Chalmers just spot up. And so we saw on Monday when they played the Thunder, he had 29 points, but 13 of those points were from the free throw line. He gives a chance to have Conley off the ball and Chalmers driving. I'm excited, man. Man, I thought this season was over. I might have been a bit over dramatic, but
you also might be a little premature.
No, I'm not saying they're gonna win their next 40 games. I'm saying they'll be right where they always are in the playoffs, like 3 or 4 seed.
Weren't you just normal Kevin before the season started saying, "Oh, Memphis championship or Western Conference championship"?
I think they can win the West.
Really, with Oklahoma State or City, and
they have Oklahoma City's number
and San Antonio, Golden State.
The only way Memphis can win the West is if they don't have to play Golden State. So they just have to avoid Golden State.
Speaking of which.
Nice. The Warriors 12-0. The Warriors are 12-0, man. They They played the Raptors last night. Game went into overtime. No, it didn't. I can't remember. They played the Nets. That game went in overtime. They've had some close games recently, but they always pull them out. They're 12-0. Are the Warriors ever going to lose, Jacob?
Yes. I don't. People have been comparing them to the Bulls. The Bulls team that went 72-10, and that team had Michael on it, but you don't have a Michael Jordan on this team. You have Steph Curry, and you have Klay Thompson, but to think they'll go 72-10, I can't see it.
Curry averaging 34 points a game right now, shooting 51% from the field and 46% from three. He's been unbelievable.
The last time I heard, he was on pace for like 495 threes.
Yeah, in the 400s, and the record is 286.
Yeah, set by him.
Yeah.
So, just the things he does on the court are ridiculous. It's like any ball he throws up, it goes in. It does not matter what angle. If he's laying on the ground, he'll somehow find a way to get it through the hoop.
The record, the best start in NBA history, 15-0, and their next 3 games to tie that, they play at the Clippers tomorrow night. That's a tough game.
Rivalry.
Then they play the Bulls, and then they play at Denver.
Man, they make it tough. Watch, they'll beat the Clippers and the Bulls, and they'll lose to the Nuggets.
You predicting that?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
Man, I'm looking at their schedule, and if they get through, they're never going to lose. The Warriors are never going to lose. I saw someone the other day on Twitter predicted they'd go 74-8.
They'd have to lose like a game and a half, which isn't even a real thing, but they'd have to lose like a game a month to have that.
Man, I don't think they're ever going to lose.
That's the problem with the NBA. One night you got one player from some joke team that goes off, and the other team loses. It's kind of like baseball. It's kind of unpredictable because you never know how one player is going to show up and how one's not.
What if they start 28-0 and their first loss is on Christmas to the Cavaliers? Oh man,
if that was true,
I hate the Warriors, but I kind of hope they start 28-0 and then lose on Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Steph Curry.
Yeah, LeBron James yesterday said, "We lost in the finals, but the team that beat us looks hungrier than us, and that's a problem."
Which player was it? Kevin Love that said if him and Kyrie were healthy, they would have won the championship.
I could see that. All the games were close, and LeBron, the second best player in that series for the Cavaliers was Matthew Dellavedova. Like J.R. Smith did nothing. Shumpert was hurt. Love and Irving out. Yeah, I think the Cavs would have won.
It would have been it probably would have went 7.
Yeah. But I mean,
but still,
there's validity to what they said.
This goes back to Matt Leinart after they lost to Texas in the national championship. He came out and said, "We may have lost, but we're still the better team." No, you lost. Sit there and take it. Come back next year. And I don't like those comments. If you were the better team, why didn't you win?
Because their guys were injured.
Well, don't you think all the teams in the NBA have to deal with injuries?
The Warriors didn't.
Did they not have one injury throughout the entire season? David Lee is like the least healthiest person in the NBA.
Yeah, and he didn't play. He wasn't part of the rotation.
He played some minutes. He was a contributing factor during the regular season.
No, he averaged like 4 points a game last year.
Your points per game average doesn't show contribution.
He doesn't play defense, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Gets them clutch rebounds. It's all about timing.
Does he? Let's look up his stats from last year because I guarantee you played about 12 minutes a game.
And those 12 minutes meant something.
Yeah, they were probably in the fourth quarter when they were already up.
Well, when you have Andrew Bogut, who gets into foul trouble, and then you have Festus Ezeli as your second string center.
Okay, if David Lee is so good, like you say he is.
Chaminade, or he's St. Louis guy.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he went to Chaminade or CBC.
Okay. If he's so good, Why in Boston is he averaging 6 points and 4 rebounds?
Because Boston
I thought
is
he's
a
so good.
guard-oriented team. Just like the Golden State Warriors. You put him at a team that likes to get the ball. Put him on the Grizzlies.
No thanks.
I bet he scores 10 points a game.
No, we don't want him. We'll never
I'm
want
predicting
him.
that trade right now. David Lee to the Grizzlies for Mike Conley to
What?
to the Celtics, and the Celtics go to the playoffs.
That's the dumbest thing you've ever said. That is so dumb. If you have dumb ideas like Jacob, you can come to the Galaxy Radio.
Because apparently they just take anyone.
Because if Jacob is on the air, anybody can be on the air. And if you have a passion for music, have dumb sports ideas, want a talk show, anything, you want to work behind the mic or behind the scenes to press all the buttons, you can do that. I want you to contact Sierra Hancock. Email her at sierra.nsa12@gmail.com. That's SIERRA.NSA12, the numbers 12, @gmail.com. Let's get into Kevin's 3.
About time. I've been waiting for this all day.
Kevin's 3. In case you are new, these are the 3 best stat lines. Changed now to not unknown players, but not well-known players. Yeah. So guys that maybe made an all-star game. None of these guys have, though. And so here we go. First guy, Hassan Whiteside for the Miami Heat. 22 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 blocks.
And Twitter blew up with his block of Kevin Garnett last night. It was nasty. He is a ferocious player.
You know something sad?
Yes.
Last season, the Grizzlies cut him twice.
Oh, goodness.
The Grizzlies cut this guy twice, and then he goes to Miami, and he's going to get paid like $18 million a year after this season. And the Grizzlies cut him twice in one season.
Is he going to stay with Miami, though?
Yeah.
So it's going to be Bosh, Whiteside,
Dragic, and Wade. Deng will probably leave, but then Justice Winslow slides in the starting 3.
and Justice Winslow. He's a promising player too.
That's a good
That's
good
a
team.
defensive team because Justice Winslow came in because of his length and his defensive ability, and it hoped to get some offense.
Yeah, that's a good looking team there. Okay,
Numero dos.
Number guy 2. What? Number 2 guy. Said his name before. Andre Drummond. Last night he had 25 points and 18 rebounds. This dude is averaging 19 points and 19 rebounds a game.
Do you think he's an MVP candidate right now? Or is it because he plays on Detroit where he's not going to get a lot of recognition?
I don't think he's an MVP candidate, but I think he's a candidate for most improved
Defensive
player of the year and first team All-NBA. Because, like, the other centers, DeMarcus Cousins, probably not because they're not a good team.
Did you
Dwight Howard.
DeMarcus Cousins drain threes
all
weekend?
But, like, there's turmoil between him and George Karl. So, not DeMarcus Cousins probably, not Dwight Howard this year. Marc Gasol hasn't been that good this year. So, I mean, Andre Drummond right now might be the best center in the NBA. And last year he averaged 14 points, 14 rebounds, averaging 19 and 19 this year. Still only a 42% free throw shooter.
Hey, man, Shaq was horrible at shooting free throws, and he's a Hall of Famer first ballot.
It's true.
When you can go up there and shoot free throws with your eyes closed and still make the Hall of Fame, and you're not the total laughingstock of the NBA, hey, it means something.
And number 3 guy that I said was going to have a big year, and what do you know? I was right. Danilo Gallinari.
Just wait till his ACL blows out.
Hey, he's only torn his ACL once and torn his meniscus once. That's it. Gallinari, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists last night. I'm a huge Gallinari fan.
Yeah. Let me tell you. Oh, my. So he comes in, and he's in the newsroom one day, and he's like, Danilo Gallinari, or I can't even pronounce his last name, Danilo Gallinari, for most improved player of the year, is going to average like 20 points a game.
He's averaging 19 right now.
And I was like, Kevin, calm down. He's probably going to get injured.
No. I'm a huge Gallinari fan. He's averaging 19 points a game. There was a funny moment in the game last night. He didn't like a call, so he started cursing at the ref in Italian, and the ref knew Italian and teed him up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was not a good moment for Gallinari.
That's funny.
That's
Actually,
funny.
I like that
Yeah.
one.
You should check that out. That's kind of funny, cursing at the ref in Italian.
But you forgot one other player.
Who did I
for
forget?
Jacob's free throw.
Jacob's free throw.
Denzel Washington.
He's not a basketball.
No,
Denzel Valentine.
Oh, God.
He said Denzel Washington.
Denzel Valentine from Michigan State. Triple-double, 29 points, 12 boards, 12 assists in 38 minutes of play.
Yep.
He brought that team back to beat Kansas. How can you even not mention this guy? I know you only do NBA, but come on now. This guy he's going to be probably going to be player of the year.
Hey, who is the only other player to get a triple-double against Kansas?
Give me a hint. Do I know this guy?
Played for Michigan State.
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Hey.
Yeah, college basketball underway. Some teams lost. Number 6 team lost. Number 5 team lost. Number 4 team lost. 4, 5, 6 all lost.
Who's number 4?
I can't remember.
Wow. I'm glad we came prepared, though.
Kansas. Kansas number 4.
5 is Duke.
Yeah.
6 is
Virginia.
Virginia?
Yeah, they lost
Oh.
to unranked team.
Along with Wichita State.
So Iowa State number 7. They're probably going to move up to number 4. So Iowa State moving on up.
There's no bias there, but
That's a good basketball team, man.
it is. And they got George Niang still there. This guy has been mentioned for Player of the Year. This is his 3rd year in a row.
Yeah.
He's talented.
Yeah. Not an NBA talent, but a college player for sure.
Yeah. But what I saw from that Kentucky team, I mean, I'm a Kentucky guy. I have family in Kentucky. They're not my favorite team. I was a Syracuse fan before I was a Kentucky fan. And I followed John Calipari because I liked him in Memphis. But that team looks just as good as last year's team. Now, their playing style's different. Last year they relied on the bigs. This year they're relying on their backcourt. But they smothered Duke.
Yes.
And it was unbelievable what they were doing. And Tyler Ulis, little guy, but he's putting up numbers. He's a sophomore, but he's going to lead that team.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Kentucky. Last year, they had so much talent, but they were all so young. This year, they have returning players. They have Marcus Lee came back. Poitras came back. Ulis came back. So they have guys that have played at high levels before. That's going to be a tough team to beat. I don't think they're as good as last year, but I think they're tough to beat again.
I don't think they'll put up the numbers they did last year because that defense last year might have been one of the best defenses in the history of college basketball.
Helps when you have 4 7-footers.
Yeah. And how many of them got drafted? 2 of them got drafted in the first round.
Yeah, Dakari Johnson got drafted, Willie Cauley-Stein got drafted, and Karl Anthony Towns. 3 got drafted.
I completely forgot about Dakari Johnson.
Yeah, I think the Thunder cut him.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dakari Johnson is out.
See, I felt like that guy, he was talented. He just never got enough playing. I feel like he's a guy that needs 28 minutes a game, not sub him out for 15 minutes a game. And then Tyler Lyles, another first-round pick.
Trey Lyles, yeah.
Trey Lyles. God, I'm not doing so hot with my names today.
It's okay. You said Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington.
We're running out of time, though. We'd like to encourage you guys to check out our Facebook page. Here's the Thing. That's what it's called. I'm not, setting up what it's called. It's called Here's the Thing because that's our show, Here's the Thing. I'd like to thank you guys for listening. We'd like to encourage you guys, if you're in the St. Louis area, on Saturday at 5 p.m., Webster University basketball team has their home opener. They play Loras College from Iowa. Last year, the Gorlocks down 16 with 3 minutes left. They won that game. So Loras is going to come back wanting some revenge
And shout out to our star point guard of the Webster JV team, Kevin Smith, for averaging over 20 points a game.
Thank you. JV team 1-1, baby.
Going for that championship.
Yeah. We don't play for like another 3 weeks. Yeah, but check out Webster basketball starting up here this weekend. Thank you for joining us on Here's the Thing, and we never know how to end this, so
should we just have a good day?
Have a good day.
Sleep well, stay safe,
and
don't drive in the rain.
Study hard, Webster. Thank you. Have a good day.